Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Bree, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area, 410-400-9641, or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
It's time for a talk with Teddy. So grab a cup of tea and a bottle of whiskey, because it's going to be a crazy ride.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talk with Teddy. And I am telling you, here in New York, it is freezing. I'm freezing my butt off. It is cold as hell out here tonight. And but winter's here, right? I mean, it's winter solstice time. It's coming, and, you know, it's just going to be really cold this winter, I have a feeling. So, joining me is Mr. Kenny Biddle. You know that he has his own show on the network as well. Skeptical Help Bar. And for him, it's fun. He has a blast with it. So, how's the show been going for you, Kenny?
Pretty good. I think it's good. I mean, to be honest, I do not pay attention to numbers. I mean, I like doing what I do regardless of whether anyone else does. So it's fun. It's fun. I like coming home after work, because I literally work. I leave work and come home and sit right in this chair. Right. And then I do the show. And I do have I'm humbled to actually say that I do have people that come in every week. It's really cool to see this. The people, the friends of mine, Bob, Kathy, I see them in the chat room now, but they pop up every week. And I'm like, I can't believe that anyone would want to spend their Friday night with me doing this. But it's fun. It really makes me feel good, you know. It makes me happy, and you know, because basically what it comes down to is watching some skeptic guy drink and talk for 2 hours. But it's really fun.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Hello, everybody in the chat room. Kathy, Bob, and I'm gonna torture that name.
Oh,
Calliope.
That's a good one.
I'm just going to say K because there's a K done. I'm just going to say K. There you go.
K.
Oh, Bob's like, so what does that say about us?
Oh, man. That you guys are awesome.
There you go. I mean, it's nice to have people that show up every time you turn it on. And, you know, and how long have you been with the network now, man? It's been... March?
Been a few months. Yeah, it's been this year. So earlier this year I started. Yeah. But you know, I mean, it's a great challenge. I want to actually what Bob asked. I mean, that's a great question, because what does that say about them? They actually challenge me. I love it because every week the people that keep coming back have different questions, more questions, in-depth questions, and they don't always agree with me. And it's really good. I encourage that, because if you don't agree with me and you can back it up, that's even better. Right. And one of the things that I offer is, because of the platform that we stream on, you can come on the show. If you have more detail, or if you have like a better argument, not like argument, but like a debate argument. If you have a good debate going, then you're more than welcome to come on and state your case, and we can talk about it. That's awesome. So I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where's my hammer? Right
There you
here.
go.
I upgraded the chain.
I watch your show from time to time. I don't always get to it, but I watch it, as often as I can. And well, you know that because you're always looking. When I pop in there, you always say, "Ted, oh
Teddy,
Ted."
Teddy.
Which started, folks, back in March. We just there's a whole bunch of things that started that. Yeah, like the paper words. Yes, I can't believe you still got that laying around, but you never know when you're going to need it. So
You never know.
Bob says, and you challenge us too. In fact, you inspire me. Kenny, inspired me, Kenny, to start a podcast. Folks like you and Teddy are doing.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I love that, and I've been keeping tabs on what he was doing because he's been posting updates about his ideas for a podcast, and I'm really interested. I can't wait till it comes up because he does offer not only questions but insight into critical thinking. He's a teacher,
Nice.
and some of the topics that we cover, he also covers, and it's nice to get that different kind of input. When you're talking about science and critical thinking and skepticism and how to think about things, it's
Right.
really nice to get a different opinion.
Well, I love that, and I'm not a critical thinker. I'm not like you to that, and I'm the just homeboy in New York that don't.
I think you are more than you think because like we have quite a few conversations offline, and we get into some good discussions. So I think you think about things a little bit more critically than you give yourself credit for, and I think you have a lot of ideas that, dare I say, you might not want to put out there all the time.
Yeah. Well,
Who knows?
I gotta be me.
I know.
I gotta be me.
You gotta be you.
And I gotta. I mean, for me, when I think of things or I try experiments or whatever, I myself have to know why it doesn't work. So I put it out there and I do it. And I look up the answers, or I ask you, or I ask John, because he's the one that's got the PhD and all this crap, and and it's like I just want to learn for myself. So a lot of this stuff that I do, let's say in the paranormal with experiments and stuff, I do it for myself, not for anybody else.
Right.
I have to learn. And one thing that we know is in life, you have to continue learning no matter what, because once you stop learning, you might as well just take your brain out, throw it in the garbage.
Once you stop learning, you become stagnant.
Yeah,
and
just
you
bring
don't
it out, just bring it out in a glass and re-drink it. It ain't gonna help you.
Yeah. So you definitely got to keep learning. You got to keep going and keep reading, keep exploring new paths of knowledge and see where it leads you.
I was going to bring this up because I saw something about you. Something about, I don't know, some type of, you were up for something like an award or something for your show?
For my show? Yeah, it's
Okay,
this is kind of
shouldn't I have asked or what?
No. I don't shy away from any questions or topics, so no worries. It's more of a social experiment to see, because there's a website that does paranormal awards, and I was just looking at it because I'm familiar with the website. I believe it's higgypop.com. So I'm familiar with the website. I've seen it before. Actually, how I became familiar with that website is because the guy that runs it, one of his articles were one of many that were plagiarized by Zach Baggins / Troy Taylor for their ghost hunting book.
Okay.
So I had actually reached out to him and let him know and said, here, you might want to check these pages because it matches your article literally like 99.99% word for word.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you want to, I didn't reach out to anybody unless I was absolutely sure it was like a high percentage. So I got to know Steve. That's the guy who runs the site. So I got to know him a little bit, just going back and forth. And I was keeping tabs on him, like, hey, because he was actually hired a lawyer in the States because he's over in the UK.
Okay.
but he hired a lawyer, a copyright lawyer, to do something about it. And I was keeping tabs, just seeing how he was doing, and if anything was coming from it. So I saw this link, and it was for these awards, and I was reading through it, and it's just I don't really care about paranormal awards. Usually, I think they're more of a popularity vote, like, oh, I love my favorite ghost hunting TV show, shit. But I started reading through the categories, just because that's what I do, and I was like, wait a minute. I qualify for this. I actually qualify for 2 of these categories. I wonder. I'll let me see what happens. And I put it out there, and I guess enough people brought up my name and my show so I was in the running for 2 categories. And I don't know the results yet. I think they're being done next, like 2 weeks from now or something like that. But the voting is closed, and like the Skeptical Help Bar was up for paranormal talk show kind of thing. And then I was put up for something else. I don't know, investigator. I don't even know what the category is, but it's more of a social experiment. I mean, I'm not going to cry if I lose.
Right.
I'm not going to be surprised, honestly. I'm going to be surprised as shit if I win anything. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Still, that's pretty cool. I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
whether you submitted or somebody else did. But what's funny about it is I voted on it. Believe it or not, I found you on there and I voted for you. I didn't know anybody else, so I voted for you. And I'm like, hey, this is cool. I'm gonna vote for Kenny.
There you go. There you go.
So, yeah, something like pop something. I was gonna try and get it all together and put it on here, but they can't vote anyways. But
yeah.
it was still really cool. And I'm like, man, it's something. I mean, to have some type of little.
It's cool.
It'd be cool if you won. You have like a little plaque or something there and say, hey,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that actually leads to a achievement that I did get that I'm very, very proud of. Very proud of. And it's this plaque up here.
I see that.
This is a plaque that's signifying it's I was elected by the Committee for Skeptical Inquirer. Their executive council elected to make me a fellow of the organization. And this is an organization that's worldwide. It's one of the biggest skeptical science organizations in the world. And they run Skeptical Inquirer magazine, which is the magazine that I write for. I write a column for them. I've also done several of their conferences. I've hosted workshops for them, which is nice because free trip to Vegas. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So years ago, I was actually went up to, it was close by you, not far from Rochester, New York, where their home offices are. And I was up there. I took a couple of days off. I went up to actually work on a few projects with one of my mentors, Joe Nickel. And we're working. I'm sitting in the office of the executive director, and I look up and I see one of these plaques up on his wall. And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm working for. I want one of those. I want my name on that plaque. And he was funny. He was like, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing because you're actually, people are watching what you're doing. And I was like, fuck right. Yeah, who are they? I'm from Philly. Don't watch me, bitch. What are you, a stalker? But no, it was cool. And then, it was a couple of weeks ago where I got an email saying that there's I forget how many people, I think 12 people or something like that are on the executive council, scientists, science communicators, big shot people, and people I look up to, and they voted me in, which was awesome. Great. To me, that's a big honor, and that's one of my bucket list goals in life, and I'm really, really proud of it. That's why the camera is now up so I can see this because I'm so proud of it.
Well, you got a couple little awards over there
I do. Well, this one is from Gettysburg because I won the dance-off contest. Yep.
Okay. All right.
And then, there's a couple. Some of my trophies are over there. I have trophies for martial arts tournaments and stuff. So I have some of that. So yeah, I really try to, when I do love something, and like science, I love martial arts. I just wish I had time for that anymore. I don't, but I loved it. And then, I took it all the way to my black belt.
Nice.
And I got it, and loved it, absolutely loved it. And then we had to make some life changes at one point. So unfortunately, I don't have time for that anymore.
Well, you're busy. You're a busy man.
Yes. Yep.
Oh. Nice, Kathy. Nice. She's like, I hope it's not the same people counting those votes that counted the election votes.
I have no problem with those.
So, I had reached out to you because the last time we actually talked, you were talking about the museum. So something's changed.
Yes.
So why don't you fill us in on that?
So this is kind of a depressing story, but I had been working on the Mystery Museum, which was a place. At the time, it was a friend that offered me space in a warehouse they had in Philadelphia, because they were starting a production company and they had a lot of space. And they offered me this to start this museum, and it was basically because over the years I have collected a lot of items, a lot of objects that people have claimed to be haunted, or objects or artifacts from different investigations that I've done. Not just with ghosts, but UFOs, Bigfoot, and so on. So I had all of this stuff literally piling up, and now it's in a big pile behind the monitors here. And so I started spreading out in this space. Actually got display cabinets, got everything, and the idea behind it was to promote education, to promote critical thinking, to promote how to look at mysteries from a critical point of view, from a skeptical point of view, which is not like let's debunk everything, but let's look at the steps. Let's look at the steps it took to figure out what's really going on.
Right.
And I had a lot of big plans, like education programs for kids and stuff like that. Unfortunately, literally the day before we were supposed to open, we had a falling out. There was some falling out over money. There was some falling out over expectations that were never addressed in the beginning. None of this on my part. But it came to where I was told to get all of my shit out by Monday. And this was a Friday.
Wow.
So, yeah. It didn't happen. And there was other things like this person was going to have a big party celebrating the grand opening, in which I was only allowed to invite 4 people to, as opposed to her 40 some people that were coming.
Okay. All right.
And when she told me that I had to get out by Monday, I was like, wait a minute, you want me to leave all my stuff here so you can entertain your guests on that Saturday, and then kick me out? So I actually packed up the majority of the stuff Friday night and pretty much cleared it out.
Nice.
So yeah, it was not a fun weekend, and not something I'm proud of, but it happened. I was being taken advantage of, and I didn't like it. And
right.
That person did not like when I shoved it back in their face. So, but now it's online. So I decided that instead of getting a physical place, because it's just the amount of work that I put into it already versus the amount of work that I would have to do to start this again.
And money. I mean,
and money. Yeah.
I mean, to be expensive. I mean, I would guess it would have to be expensive. I mean, look at how much it costs to rent a space anywhere. You
Right.
know, I mean,
Right.
it's a lot, and if you're not able to bring in the people to pay for tickets to come into it or whatever, not even thinking about COVID at this time, because COVID is playing havoc on everything. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, and I'm not. For me, there's not a. I don't look to get rich. I don't look to make a living off of this. It was
right.
really about the education. I love being able to, because I've done some work with different schools. I've actually gone into some schools and done classes where we teach the kids through like paranormal topics. I teach them about critical thinking and about science, and it's really good. I mean, that's the rewarding part for me. I get really excited about that kind of stuff,
That's
and that's what I'm
excellent.
looking. So right now, everything's online. If you actually go to Facebook and look for Kenny's Mystery Museum, you'll see the Facebook page. There's a link to the website, which is still a work in progress, but there's a lot of stuff up there, and it tells you about some of the artifacts. It tells you what I've done so far, and it's like I said, it's a work in progress, but it's getting there, and it's I'm happy because it's not costing me anything right now. So,
Well, see,
but
that's
yeah,
good.
I mean, I think that's good because I had so many people that were interested in it, and now this is your chance. You can't actually pick up the objects, because that was one of the things I thought was cool about the museum, was that it wasn't like, even though stuff was behind some display cases, not all of it, but some of it, all you had to do was ask if you wanted to actually handle it, and I was going to let you, pick it up, touch it, play with it, and see if it curses you, whatever, like, let's have some fun with it.
Right.
So, but now at least you get to see what it looks like, and you get some of the history behind it.
Yeah, so it actually comes up as the Mystery Museum. So I think that's what I came up with. Let me just double check.
So that will probably take you. Yeah, that takes you to the Facebook page, and then if you look under the About section where the website is listed, there's a website there, and then that will take you to the actual
To a
website.
website.
Yeah, and you'll be able to see all the stuff that I've posted so far.
Cool. Well, I'm going to add that to this as well. So
Awesome. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of disheartening when it all came crashing down. But I took a weekend, I got over it, and moved on. On to the next project. There you go.
there it is. So cool.
Nice.
Cool. So everybody can check that out.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Yeah. Awesome.
And if you have any questions, I mean, feel free to shoot me an email or Facebook message about any of the objects or anything like that. Feel free, because I love talking about this shit.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that at least you're still able to have a museum. I mean,
Right.
That was the other thing, because you collected this stuff over the years, and you were really excited about having a location.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that didn't work out, but things happen for a reason. So maybe this will be the
Right.
bee's knees for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's always the chance later on. I mean, I always have projects going on, and right now I'm just swamped. I can't start this over right now. But if it comes to a time where I'm like, all right, you know what, things are going really good, and I have some more time, and then another opportunity comes up where I can have a physical space, I'll definitely jump on it, because I do like when people, I mean, I love going out to out of these museums. I love seeing this shit, and not only seeing it in person, but to be able to handle it,
Right.
like I have a haunted rocking chair that, it's supposed to move. The guy that gave it to me, because I mean, he was at a yard sale, but he gave it to me because we started talking about what I do. And, he told me that his grandmother or his mother had actually passed away while sitting in the chair. And after the funeral, he would come home and see it rocking by itself. And it made him feel good, because for him, it was like, oh, that's my mom. You know, she's
Right.
still around. She's still hanging around. His wife, however, wanted nothing to do with it. Like she was like, nope, get it the fuck out. And then there was another claim that he said when they had guests over and they would sit in a chair, they felt like they were sitting on someone's lap. So I had this chair out and it was like, all right, if you want to sit in it, be my guest. Go ahead, sit in it. You know, tell me what you feel.
Right.
So,
Wow.
oh well.
Hello, Tom. Hello, Chanel.
Hey, Tom.
Cat. There's a few of them in here. So it's really cool here because I want to read this. This is Welcome to Kenny's Mystery Museum. The Mystery Museum is a new take on the concept of the classic oddity museum. Various mysteries are presented, such as ghosts, demons, Bigfoot, alien UFOs, and other strange experiences and objects. But rather than leave you with just the sensational stories, the museum showcases the method and people that solved these cases, tested them, and sometimes exposing them as hoaxes. The museum is about education, teaching of ideas of critical thinking, skepticism, and science, and applying them to the spooky and strange. That is very cool.
Awesome.
I like it.
Yep.
Cool
I work
stuff.
on it here and there. Like every couple days, I get a chance to sit down for a couple hours and just.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to link that to my page.
I don't
my
mind.
website. You know, I'll put you on there. Not a problem. Help get the word out. You know, don't mind at all.
And hey, if anyone's out there and you have like an object that you think is haunted, and you know you want to get rid of it, I'll take it.
He just doesn't want haunted people. He just doesn't want those.
Yeah,
you can't put them on display and.
Yeah, they get cranky and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you got to feed them. Who knew?
Oh, fuck that! No, I'm not feeding them. You just sit in your cage. Be nice. Wave to the people.
Yeah, it's funny is over the years, coming from the paranormal, you know, I've collected a couple things too. Most of the time, it was strange, but in the beginning, people were just handing me their Ouija boards. So, like, I have a closet full of them, and I just haven't decided what I'm going to do with them, but they're just sitting there. And then I ended up with some really strange things, like the top of a bishop's staff. I ended up with the last rites crosses with all the holy water and stuff.
I have those. Yeah.
Just really strange of what people hand you and say, I don't want this anymore. I think it's haunted. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I take it, and nothing's ever happened. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I love. My wife and I frequently go to flea markets and yard sales every weekend, and I'm constantly on the lookout for things. And I really want to make a shirt that just says "I collect haunted shit," and just walk around. But I usually get into conversations with people, and they're fascinated, and that's how I collect some of these things. There's a portrait that I have, and I believe the picture is actually up on the website. But it's a portrait of it's not a picture. I think it's what's called a crayon portrait, which was like, it was either a painting or it was a old photograph that was enlarged, and then an artist actually went over it with charcoal and crayons. And it looks realistic until you walk up to it and get real close. But I saw this at a flea market, and I talked to the guy, and he wanted $20 for it. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And then he wouldn't let me go. He kept saying, no, maybe, all right, 15. Got him all the way down to $2.
Wow.
20. And I made a joke saying, what is it, a haunted or something? Is that why you're trying to get rid of it so bad? And you saw his face, like, went from, like, all happy and, like, eager to, like, almost white. And like, even for a white boy, he went more white. Like scared, and said that the lady comes out of the picture, like she, like all like the ring and shit, like that she comes out of the picture and walks around, and he doesn't want it anymore. That's why it's here. So I was like, really? Wow. That's your story? He's like, yeah, just take it. Okay. Got it. So now, actually, here it is. I can show you.
Yeah, I was looking on the website to see if I could find it, but
that's it. Oh, wait, there she is.
Oh, wow.
So that's the picture, and then on the back, let me see if I can zero in. There you go. 1867.
Wow.
Eleanor Celestia, or something like that.
She looks like an Eleanor.
Yeah, she's
Actually,
got
you know
that.
what she looks like is one of those women from like old schoolhouses that had the ruler in her hand and smacked your hands.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. Freaky. I love it though. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh.
I had one that was given to me, and I'll tell you the stupid story afterwards, but a guy handed me a Ouija board that his great grandmother had, and it was probably a half an inch thick.
Ooh, nice.
And it was made of wood. It was handmade. Her father made it for her. And she was into talking to the dad and all that stuff. So she died. It passed down to the grandmother, then to him. And he's like, I don't want this thing. I want you to take it. So I took it. And at that time, I had like a 1982 or 87 Grand Prix, one of those really big boats. And I put it in the back of the car, wrapped it in a towel, put it in the back of the car, left it there. And that car died on me. And actually, I forgot it was in the trunk, and they took it and squished the car, and it was in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, because I'll bet you that would have been something really nice to hold on. It's been perfect for your museum.
Yeah, I collected a bunch of them, and I actually had them. I used like the 3M plastic hooks that you put on the wall, but I had, I don't know, like 13, 14 of them.
There's
on the
one behind
wall.
you.
So yeah. Oh yeah, that's actually this is a tray.
No kidding.
That was a gift from one of the people that listened to my show.
Awesome.
But this is, I'm going to be very gentle because it's fragile. It's fragile. But it's kind of like one of those dinner trays.
Yeah, it is. That's like old.
But it's Hasco.
Yeah, no kidding.
I have a Egyptian board, talking board that's from the same company. But this was a gift from a friend, JD, that picked this up and sent it to me. So I actually had to glue some of it because part of it it was breaking apart. So
right.
I glued it down so that it wouldn't go anywhere. But
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's really neat. That's why I keep it back there.
All right, couple questions in here.
Sure.
Actually, Tom made a statement, said if you get enough Ouija boards, you could panel a room with them. Yes, I could, which would be kind of cool. But if I asked Cindy or somebody else, I would be opening a portal or something stupid like that. Kathy says, this is Tom's World. There is a guy that collects them. He has them hanging all through his house. He's been on your YouTube, I think. That's cool, Tom. There you go. Bob says, did you ever look into who she was and what her backstory is?
I have not yet. That's on the list. It's on the very
long
list of things to do. Right. Unfortunately, like things keep popping up. Like I think, oh, you know what? This weekend, like 2 weeks ago, I had off for a week. I took the entire week off. It's like the end of the year kind of thing where it's like I have all this time. I got to take it. And I didn't go anywhere because everything's fucking closed. But I was like, oh, I'll get all this done. I'll be able to do this. I'll do this project. I'll look this up. Yeah, I didn't do any of it. Everything that I had planned, I did not do because other things popped up.
No, Tom, that's hilarious. Tom's like, laugh my ass off. You'd be opening a portal to Parker Brothers headquarters.
Oh, my God. It's always fascinating to me. I mean, when you look at the history, and one of the things that I had, because the museum actually had I had a corner done. So all the Ouija boards or talking boards were on the wall. I had a table. It was a bar table that was shaped like a planchette. And then I had a frame with all of these advertisements dating back to like 1892, I think, was the earliest advertisement I had. And these were in the newspapers advertising the talking board and the Ouija board, play the Ouija and selling it for like I think the cheapest was a dime, I think, for the game. And it was a party game. It was a Victorian era party game. It was not associated with spirits. It was not associated with demon possession or any shit like that.
Right.
That all came with basically the Exorcist movie. That's when it really jumped.
Well, I did my research on the Ouija board a long time ago, and because I was always fascinated with it. In fact, I put it in my second book, I believe, how it even came about and when it came about. It actually came from the planchette itself, the automatic writing tool, and that's how it was developed. But back in the day, that it was actually a Japanese or Chinese divination tool. And, I've got all that down in my book, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head, but, it talks about when it started, and, then Parker Brothers bought, Fueled, or I think
Fudd. William Fudd. Yeah.
Fudd bought the rights to it and started doing it first, and then Parker Brothers, and then, down the line. But it's amazing, because there was a gentleman on Paratalk last night, and him and Cindy got on the conversation about the Ouija board, and I just had to sit there on my hands with their belief and how evil they are and all that stuff. And I'm just like, Teddy, shut up. Don't say a word.
It's
Don't say nothing.
I've actually left them out. I mean, and you can, next time we're all together, like 10 years from now. But next time we're together, ask my wife about the night I put them all out. I came down. It was almost like Christmas Eve for me, being a little kid. I put every talking board that I had out in my living room and played with all of them, had the planchette on all of them. And I was like, whatever demons, anything that wants to come through, have fun. Just go ahead, have fun. I'll be upstairs and I'll see what you did in the morning. I'll set the video camera up. Boom. I went to bed, could not sleep because I was like, I hope something happened. I hope something happened. I hope something happens. And I'm sure my wife was like, our house is going to burn down. Oh my God. But got up in the morning, went down all excited, like a kid on Christmas Day. Nothing. Not a damn thing. It's just a game, people. I know people out there have beliefs. I know plenty of them, they're going to watch this and think I'm an idiot. But it's a game. There's plenty of psychological explanations for what's going on. But shit. You play Monopoly, you play Sorry, you play any of these things, and it's pretty much the same shit. That's good.
And you know what? You can find them anywhere these days. Yeah. I mean, everybody's making them.
Yeah.
I was always taught. Now, I come from a very superstitious family. Raised the old way, but not like in Catholicism or anything like that. But old supernatural beliefs, Native American as well as from the hills, so they believe certain things. And, those old stories like don't walk underneath the ladder, don't let a black cat cross your path, stuff like that, salt over your shoulder, all that stuff. And the Ouija board was one of them. And we used to have a lady that lived near us that believed that she could talk to anybody on the Ouija board. But she always told us right from the beginning, she goes, if you're not a medium, a psychic or a medium, or you don't have the connection with the spirit, it will not work for you.
That's good.
So, yeah, that's what she used to tell me. And so in my early days, when people were playing with them and stuff, I go, it's not going to work for you. And that's what I told them. It's like, unless you're a true psychic or a medium or anything like that, it's not going to work. Now, I know a lot of the gypsy people used to use things similar to that, but they used to curse the shit out of everybody too. And if you believe it, then you're cursed. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's all about a psychological thing. So, I think people are going to believe what they want to believe because, first off, they want to blame all their hardship and all the things that are happening onto something. And if they blame it on the board, then that's their excuse.
Right. Belief is a powerful thing. It really is. If you do believe something works, then you're going to fall into a few conditions: confirmation bias and selection bias. You're basically going to take all the hits and you're going to remember them. You're going to emphasize them So if you think that someone cursed you or that something came through that Ouija board and you didn't close it, so now bad things are going to happen. Everything that happens that's bad from that point on, you're going to attribute to that.
Right.
Everything that's good, you're going to forget. You're going to ignore and
You're
not
be blind to it. That's,
exactly.
That's all it is.
Exactly. It's amazing when you give up that belief, when you abandon it and say, you know what, I'm not gonna believe this. I'm gonna see what happens if I just let it go.
Right.
And I mean, I've done that for years. I did start out as a ghost hunter. You know, I did believe that we were capturing ghosts. I did believe that Ouija boards worked. I did believe psychics could psychic. And it's just the more I learned over the years, and the more I not only watched the tests and understood how to test somebody for these claims, the more I did myself, the more I realized, no, this isn't happening. I'm finding other reasons for it.
Right. Well, Chanel's got a good comment. She said power of suggestion, and we know through our own history as human beings that power of suggestion is very strong. And if you can make one person believe, then 5 people believe, then 10 people believe, you got mass hysteria on your hands. You can pretty much
dogs living together, mass hysteria.
I mean, you can pretty much do anything. I mean, people are gullible. They like to believe certain things, especially if they come from a belief system already that believe that, and then you take and you feed it. It's like putting gasoline on a fire, you know.
Well, the power of suggestion, all you have to do is look at EVP. Yeah. I mean, that right there, when you talk about the power of suggestion and what's called priming, it's right there. If you play a clip and tell someone what they're supposed to hear, yes, they're going to hear it. And they're not going to unhear it, because that's what they're going to base every listen afterwards on. Like, yes, it does say, I'm going to kill you. Wow. I mean, I can hear that now. Now that you said that and I listened for it, holy shit, I hear that.
Right.
But if you go to a different group and tell them something different with the same clip, you're going to get the same
they're going to believe that too.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I think I hate to get on this big subject of all this, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But, you know, that's one of the things in the paranormal that kind of pisses me off, is that, let's just use the simplest one, like you just said, like EVPs. You know, you go to an investigation and you collect an EVP, you know, and okay, say you got one. Usually what happens is they take that EVP, they listen to it, they think they know what it says, they take it to everybody and say, hey, I caught this EVP. This is what it said. What does it say to you? Well, automatically, like you said, you've already given them the answer.
Right.
So, like, some of the, well, I want to say smarter, but I'm not trying to put anybody down, or I'm not, you know, trying to piss anybody off. But in some cases, if you take that EVP and you give it to somebody, and have them go into a different room and have them listen to it without you saying anything, hey, I caught one, tell me what it says, go into another room, and do that with 5 to 10 different people, I'm pretty sure going to come back with different answers. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you happen to come back with everybody saying the same thing, well, then kudos to you. But generally, in most cases, you're going to hear different answers. You know?
You're going to.
I'm not going to say that all EVPs, I'm not going to say that they don't exist. I'm not going to say that there isn't some out there that are convincing or anything like that. I'm just saying that if you want to really do this in a way to where you want to put some, oomph behind it, don't let everybody listen to it at the same time in the same room. Don't tell them what it says. Right. Let everybody listen to it on their own, away from everybody else, and give it to more than 5 people or 2 people. Have a bunch of people listen to it and tell you what they think it says.
Yeah.
You know, validity. If you want validity, there you go. You know, that's a little more than what you had by just sitting there saying, this is what it says.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I think it's good that you really get as many people to listen to it without telling them what it is and without context.
Right.
Because if you have context, if you hear someone asking a question, when did you die? Or what year did you die? That's going to put someone that's listening into the mode of, I'm going to listen for a date. I'm going to listen for a number. So you take that out. Just play the clip of the alleged EVP. And Yeah, play it for
Let each person make up their own mind what it says.
Yeah. I mean, I was part of one study that we looked at these kind of things with a ghost box, the Radio Shack hack. And we sent clips out. We had control group and a testing group. And I was surprised. Even though I expected to get different results back, I was surprised about how varied the results were. They were all over the board. No one agreed on what was said. And it was just amazing, especially when we took the question out. We had one group with the question, one group without a question. And it was just amazing. Even with the question, they didn't get it. They didn't agree.
Yeah.
And we had 103 people that participated.
Nice.
So that's a lot. It's a good sample size for this community. And just to see the how much it varied was eye-opening. And I think if more people did that kind of stuff, you would begin to see that, okay, maybe there is something else going on here. Maybe we're not getting.
Well, it's time for us to start weeding, you know what I mean, in the paranormal. We need to start weeding some of this stuff out. Bob says, power of suggestion. I love teaching this to high school psych students. Actually, I'll put it up here so everybody can read it. If you listen to Another One Bites the Dust by Queen Backwards, you hear it's fun to smoke marijuana. I didn't know that. That's cool.
You didn't know it was fun to smoke?
Through the power of suggestion, you start to hear it. My students don't hear it at first, but once I say the phrase, they can't unhear it.
Yes.
See, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you know, before we change the subject, because I do want to change the subject, but what I like is the EVPs. Like, we did an experiment probably 6-7 years ago where we were investigating a battlefield. And you know how, you know, you go and you put all your stuff on a table and then you go down and you do your investigation. Well, I figured, you know, just for the hell of it, when we had all of our stuff, I put a recorder there and I left it on recording, and then we left. So we were gone in this field, and it was a pretty far walk. So we just left this stuff there. And by the end of the night, we picked up, left, whatever. The next day, I listened to that recorder, and what caught me was there was no conversation, you know, for the longest time. And then when my cousin and I sat down and we started talking back and forth, you heard a voice, like, and it was just like a normal conversation you and I are having. And I heard a voice come over top of her voice, louder, saying something I couldn't understand. Now, I tried every which way to determine what this was. And we knew there was nobody there because we had to actually register to be in that area. It was closed down. Nobody else could be there with us. So I took it and I went to the college here in SUNY Geneseo, had them run it, you know, had it for a week to see if they could tell me what language it was or whatever, and they couldn't decipher it at all. So I don't live that far from the town I wanted a reservation. I thought, well, let's check and see if it's some type of Native American, because it was a Native American battleground. Took it. It was almost 3 or 4 weeks they brought it back. They couldn't tell me what it was either. So to this day, I still have this EVP, and I have no idea what it means or what the voice is.
So something that comes to mind is it actually a voice?
Yes. It's definitely a voice. You can tell. In fact, I played it backwards. That's how I found out.
It's
funny.
Playing it backwards doesn't verify that a sound is a voice.
No. But the only thing that I could do, and it was all by pure mistake, I was trying to figure out what it was. So I was listening to it that day over and over and over, trying to figure out what it was saying. I accidentally hit the reverse play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it came back and it said something. And I'm like, whoa, it threw me back, because it's like, first off, how did it know I was doing that? Because it actually told me I was doing something.
So does it say the same thing? Do you hear the same thing when you play it again?
Always says the same thing over and over and over.
So
over
it's not predicting what you did.
No, it's saying what I did.
But it's not predicting.
No, it's not predicting. It's saying what I did.
Yeah. So you're hearing something, and even, I mean, it still goes back to the fact that just because you played it backwards does not mean it's a voice.
I agree.
You're reversing the sounds, and you could hear something.
I
So
agree.
it might actually be I mean, if you guys were talking, you said the two of you were sitting there talking, right? And all
there was just two of us there, just talking, and this happened over top of our conversation.
Okay. So it happened in the area where you kept all your gear, all your stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So it's possible, and I'm just throwing it out there, it's possible that something moved. You guys had all this stuff here. Maybe somebody moved, and that's why it's loud enough to be over top of you. It was an object, maybe a bag or a duffel bag or clothing or something that was there.
And it was sort of nighttime, so it could have been a bat. It could have been an owl. It could have been anything at that point. And I tried to keep all that stuff in mind.
Yeah.
But so what I did other than that was I kind of backed it up, and I started to listen for like the hour before, the hour after, to see if there was anything else on there. Like, because if it is a bird or even a bat, and if it's in that location, it's going to make some type of noise more than just once. So I tried to listen to see if there's anything repetitive through the recording at all.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing like that. However, prior to that, there was the sound of, like, you know what plastic, like, water bottles sound, like the cheap plastic water bottles, like that Irish. You just squeeze the bottle, it's like you hear that crunching of the bottle.
Right.
You heard that. Then you heard it getting knocked off the table. Okay? And it sounded like footsteps. Now, so what I did was, I said, well, wait a minute, I got to go back and then talk to the police officer that guards this thing to see if there was somebody else that was there besides us. So I interviewed, he said there was no one else there. I said, okay, came back, talked to Stacy, who was in the conversation with me. I said, do you remember the whole night that we were sitting there talking, just you and me? There was nobody else there. We had the pop bottles on the table. But the bottles we had weren't that type of bottle. So it kind of bothered me. I wasn't sure at first. So I just started, you know how you do it. You sit down, you write negative, positive. This is what happened. This is what wasn't. You know what I mean? And you started tearing it apart to figure out what was going on. And we couldn't come up with anything. But there's definitely, someday, Kenny, I'll have to get it to you so you can listen to it. Because the whole thing just kind of threw me off. And like, it's like, this just doesn't make sense. It just absolutely does not make sense to me.
Unfortunately, that's the problem with the way you set it up. Because if you set up just an audio recorder,
mm-hmm.
you're only getting half the story, if that.
Right. Right. I get that.
Yeah. I mean, you're open to interpretation. You don't know what actually is going on. I mean, yeah, if it sounds like a water bottle, it could be one of those water bottles, but it might not be. It might be something else. It sounds like
unfortunately, there was no other recorder. There wasn't a video. There wasn't anything to kind of give me that other part of the story. So I just thought it was weird. I thought it was something interesting. We were never able to debunk it. You know, we certainly could sit down and say, okay, well, to keep our minds clear with it and say, okay, we could be satisfied with these answers. We said, well, this is what it must have been. This is what it must have been. But still to this day, I'll be honest with you, I still sit there and go, man, I wish I knew for sure.
If you think about it, you know, and find it, send it to me and I'll take a listen.
Yeah. And now we can't recreate it because where we went, they took that whole thing down. So it was a pavilion basically that you sat under. They moved the pavilion, they did all this stuff. So it's really strange and different. But I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was an interesting EVP. I don't believe that everybody's EVPs. I do believe that there are some that are set aside that are different, that could hold some information that maybe we overlook. But I think in the paranormal, there's a lot of stuff we need to weed out, and if we want to move forward, I really do.
Controls, people. Controls. You need controls.
Yeah. So let's see what we got here.
God.
Snarky Christmas. Nice. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Okay, Nick, nice to see you.
Hey, Nick.
It says video, lots of it, and as many areas in use as possible. Helps keep track of human movement and other stuffed animals environment. Correct. This
Absolutely.
was way before I knew about those cameras. Those, I didn't have them back then. This was a long time ago, so it was fun though. I mean, it was one of my favorite investigations because you go to battlefields. I mean, it's always fun to go to a battlefield, and especially one here in New York versus going like to Gettysburg or something. So this was cool because it was the American Indian War, and it was very cool.
Cool.
So Nick says hi, Kenny. Says, what have you missed? Well, pretty much we just been kind of going around the globe here with conversation.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Just seeing where it takes us.
Right. So, you've been doing, well, you started out as a paranormal investigator. Now you're doing skeptical writing and stuff. I was going to ask you earlier when we were talking, how do you deal with people that are really persistent on what they see and do? I mean, do you just give them your opinion and walk away, or give them something else to think about? Is that what you try to do? Because I think that would be the right thing to do, is try to give them another way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, well, first, you can still call me a paranormal investigator. I'm just a skeptical one.
Okay.
Because I'm still investigating claims. I'm still investigating them, but I'm doing it in what I consider a more precise and detailed manner. I'm not just taking things at face value. I'm not going in believing it and then moving on to the next thing. I focus on the details and try to solve the case, not perpetuate it. So that's the difference. But when it comes to, I guess do you mean like other ghost hunters that are like, hey, I saw a ghost and it's real no matter what? Or
yeah, sure. It could be a ghost hunter. It could be
Bigfoot hunter or
whatever. Yeah.
I love having conversations. I love having conversations and talking about different views, and I will offer information that I have. And I think it really depends on the feel of the conversation. If there's if there's an alpha male, and we all know the type that are there, and they're like, they got the photographer's vest with the bulging pockets and equipment everywhere, and they're like, I know every fucking thing there is because I've watched every season of every ghost hunting show there is. There's little point in me having conversation there because most of the time, and not all the time, I want to make that clear, not all the time, but most of the time, yes,
they just tune you out.
It'll be a waste, and it'll be like it turns into a measuring dicks contest, and that's not my thing. It's all right, but if someone asks an opinion, absolutely, I will certainly tell you what I think. I don't really sugarcoat it. I tell you exactly what I think. If I don't, I mean, that's usually what comes off first. Do I think it's a ghost? No, but this is why I don't think it's a ghost. I will certainly explain my reasons, and if I can duplicate like a photograph or a video at the time, I certainly will do that. Same thing with equipment. If I can show you how this device goes off with the other equipment that you have in the room, I will show you how that's done. If I hear a conversation and it's between, say, the alpha male and like a bunch of people that are truly curious and they're getting bad information that I can back up, I can show that it's bad information, then yes, I will speak up. I can't not speak up because I don't want misinformation spread. I think
there's too much of that now anyways, Kenny. I mean, there's so much out there that anybody that's got the heart into the paranormal that really wants to research it in the best way possible, the influences that surround you are many. I mean, and the influences can really steer you in a wrong direction. Really can.
Yes, it can.
And the tools, like what you were saying, the gadgets, all that stuff. I would like to see, to be honest with you, I would like to see more simplified, videos and people teaching how to use this equipment, because there's so much out there that people don't know what it's supposed to do. And then they're all guessing, like you said in the beginning, oh, the K2 light's going on, so there must be a ghost here. Well, we know different, but other people don't. You know?
It's hard to. I can understand why many people do it that way, because it's hard to see yourself as being wrong.
Right.
That's a big thing. You watch some TV shows, you watch some YouTube videos, and you get this sense of, I know what I'm doing. You know, I've seen this. I know how it works. And
Right.
you take a new device out of the box and you just go use it, just like you saw on TV.
Right.
And you don't realize that there's so much more to it than that. And that's where the hard work comes in. You know, for the majority of the community, I think it's a fun hobby. They want to get their new piece of equipment. They want to spend an outrageous amount of money. That
I was just going to say, expensive hobby.
They want to. They spend too much fucking money.
Yeah.
Some of these devices that are literally, I've seen like $200 items that are only worth $5.
I've seen $500
yes,
items.
yes,
that are going for out that you could go to Guitar Center and build your own for a quarter of that price.
Right.
You know,
But I see them. They get excited about it. They want to go out. They want to use the equipment right away and get the same results. And these are not. That's not investigating. That's anomaly hunting. You're looking for odd things to happen that you can't explain. And we have to remember, we have to accept this. And this is the hard part. You have to accept that you're not always right.
Right.
This is a fact of life. You are not always right. Most of the time, you're going to be wrong. and I know it's hard to accept because I went through it. You know, I did a lot and I'm still wrong.
Right.
But the difference is when I'm told that I'm wrong and I'm able to, that person that tells me I'm wrong is able to show me that I'm wrong. I accept it. I don't get pissed off. I don't get mad. I don't unfriend them, delete you, block you.
See, Kenny, I'm going to interrupt you. That's the stuff that needs to happen, though, in this field today, is more people have to be shown that, hey, I love your enthusiasm, but this is what this tool is for.
Right.
This is what it was made for, and this is what it's actually telling you. And then give them the proof so that they can say, oh, well, what the hell did I spend my money on this for then?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, since you and I become friends, and yes, we're friends, and, you know, yeah, exactly. A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. And, you know, I've always been the type to sit back that I want to hear both sides. I don't want to just take one side to anything. And I want to know what I'm doing. I mean, that's the biggest thing, folks, is you want to know exactly what you're doing. And I will take notes. I have a notebook. I take it with me when I go on my investigations, and I jot things down all the time. And I do that because I can go back to that investigation and go further on it and see, you know, what might be making that happen. Right. Maybe it's a fluke. I mean, because flukes do happen. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of things that you have to look at. And one of the things that gets my blood boiling is in the paranormal is that everybody believes that you can go to a place and do an investigation one time for 4 hours or 8 hours and think that you've solved the mystery. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
That kills me. That right there, what you said, that they think they solved the mystery.
Yeah.
Right now, I haven't, to date, I've never seen a ghost hunting show that solved a mystery.
Right.
They're
just giving you more questions. That's all they're bringing to you is more questions.
Most ghost hunts do nothing more than let you come in and thrill seeking. That's what it is. You go in there and you sit in the dark. You play with toys. I'm speaking in general terms. I don't want to
piss anybody off or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean it's going to happen. People get pissed off. It's going to happen, you know. And if you get pissed off, then maybe instead of getting pissed off at me, maybe you should stop and think about what you're doing, what I'm saying, and maybe do I have a point? I don't know. I might not. I might be wrong. Right. I've been there before.
Right. We all have.
But you really have to look at what you're doing, and are you actually investigating something? What are you investigating? Are you looking for weird things to happen? Well, fuck, you'll find that anywhere you go.
Right.
You can walk outside your door and find weird things that happen.
Mm.
But are you actually solving? Did you get concrete proof that the ghost that haunts that place is actually that historic figure that you keep blaming
Mm-hmm.
to be the ghost?
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it. I doubt it. But if you did, please present it. Let me say it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
would change the world. You really
See,
would.
that's just another thing in the paranormal field I think that needs to be addressed. I mean, some of this stuff is just common sense. I mean, first off, you know as well as I do that most investigators, they go into a home thinking it's haunted. They can't do that. You gotta go into it thinking, skeptical. I'm going to use that word. You have to think that, hey, it could just be simply, I don't know, the microwave making a weird noise. It could be anything. If you go in there thinking it's going to be haunted, then you've already set yourself up with that. So you've already got so why bother going in? Just get back in your car and just say, yes, it's haunted. And still the belief, and it still bothers me that people believe that ghosts exist and they have no proof. They have absolutely no proof that a ghost exists. Absolutely none. And, that kind of puts I don't want to say professional. I don't want to be somebody that has the desire like I do, or the energy that I want to do this. I want to be able to prove the existence first. I don't just want to go out and do all these hauntings, all these places that are haunted and all this other stuff. Even though that's part of it, you have to figure out what they're made of. You need to figure out why so many people are talking about haunts and all this other stuff. Let's do it one step at a time. You have to start at A to get to Z. You just can't jump to Z. That's my belief anyways. I mean, I like to have my enthusiasm with the paranormal and going through this stuff is simply, I need more than what the next person says. And I need to see it. And I would love to be able to present it to people like you saying, this is what I found. I've exhausted every avenue that I know. If you have some ideas, go for it.
Yeah.
And if we come up to the same answer at the end of it, then all we can honestly say to each other is, well, we've got something, If not, we give it to somebody else to have them test it. It's just, I think we just take too much for granted with this stuff.
Yeah, that happens a lot. You can't take it for granted, and you do have to send it to other people to look at. And unfortunately, I mean, if you send it to, and this is definitely stereotyping, if you send it to your other ghost hunter friends, you're not, unless they have a good background in an actual specific background in a specific area that is helpful, you're not really doing anything. Right. That's not peer review. That you're not doing anything for yourself. Right. You want to send it out. I send my stuff out. Like for instance, like every article that I write for Skeptical Inquirer, it goes through at least 2 editors, fact checkers, to make sure that I got my shit in a row. Right. And that goes back to what we were talking about before. They have no problem telling me I was wrong about something. Mm-hmm. Right. Like they definitely pointed out. But I also send articles to experts, different experts, or I consult experts and say, hey, like in electronics or biology or chemistry, when I have a question that comes up, I consult them. Hey, this is what I found. Is this right? And I love when they tell me either I'm right or wrong. I mean, I love when they tell me I'm right. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I did it right. Yeah. But if they tell me I'm wrong, then it's an opportunity to learn, like, why am I wrong?
Yeah, and it gives you the opportunity to learn more about it. And yes. that's the way it should be about all this stuff. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I mean, I want to be on the paranormal bandwagon and find all these answers and do all that stuff. And I in the past few years, I have watched other people do investigations, and I've heard horror stories, to be honest with you. And, I'm like, I'm glad I never did that, or I don't work this way, right? And I'm not an expert. I'm not, I don't know. I don't do anything in a precise way to where I know the most about it. I just do what I do and hope that someday I come up with something. I do the best I can, and that's all you can do. You know, education, learning more about the stuff is definitely the key. Reaching out to other people like you, and having a skeptic and having somebody that's a true believer. Play off both of them and see what you come up with for answers. And but there's always a way to dive into this stuff. And to me, my answer is always, when I talk to someone that's coming into the field and try to do this, I hate saying field because it's not really a field, but if you're going to be doing this stuff, always remember to ask for more out of yourself.
Always improve yourself.
Right. And always learn. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to try things that's never been done. Because that's what we need.
Instead of buying that next big thing in ghost hunting devices
for $500.
Science book. Oh God, don't buy that shit. Fucking, what a waste of money.
Well, we could all go out and buy that. What's that camera that everybody's using now? From the Xbox. What is that? I keep forgetting the name of it.
God, the Kinect. No, don't buy.
Yes.
Don't
Everybody go out and buy one of those and watch your stick figures dance around in your living room.
Jesus Christ. What's fucking wrong with that? That's a whole nother show.
I know. All right. Kat has her QQ. Look at that. She took it from your show. Do you feel that just as the skeptical side needs to be considered, and strongly, I think, on visits to locations, we should have balance between that side and the parapsychological. Yes, thank you. And psychical research side. Also, if we look at ghosts, should we look at telepathy, ESP too?
I'll bite.
I was going to say before I finish that, like I went to, this as well. There's been a lot of studies on psychical research in different. Well, what was it? Duke University had a big one there for a while.
They had the Rhine Institute, the Rhine Institute, part of Duke, but then broke away.
Right. So but they used to do all that stuff too. But there's so many things. I mean, you have to first go back. For me, at least, this is what it means: is that if you look at ancient times, if you look at the past, seers, people that claimed to have all these special abilities or was able to see into the future and stuff like that. I'm not going to tell you that it was all garbage, but you have to look at some of those stories and then look at what we have today. You got to compare some things, and you have to realize that back in those days, stories, they were stories, man. They were just, look at some of the stuff that Shakespeare wrote. Look at some of the stuff that like the dragons and Merlin and even Jesus himself. We don't have proof of any of this stuff. We really don't. And it's scary to think that some of this stuff is still floating out there and around, and we believe it. We believe it, though. Yeah. It's just scary that we believe it. Dig deeper.
Yeah.
Dig deeper.
As for her question, yes, I think. See, I have trouble. I don't know how to
psychic research.
Well, the parapsychology is a different topic, and it's. I mean, they don't, as far as I know, they don't delve into ghosts so much. They're more with psychical stuff, ESP, telepathy, remote viewing, stuff like that. But they have had like the Society for Psychical Research, where the SPR, they were the ones that really investigated a lot of psychics. Right. And then obviously they called into places like the Enfield poltergeist case and stuff like that. So they do go into that kind of stuff. But before I consider that stuff, I think before I would consider stuff like telepathy, ESP, and that kind of thing, I always look to see if there is a mystery to solve, because sometimes anecdotes, when you get the stories from people, sometimes it's as simple as a mistake, mistaken identity. So before I would go for, I think what she's going for here maybe is that like a balance, like all things considered, and I think there should be a progression. You look at it and see what's the simplest things that could probably explain this, and let's test it, see if that applies. If it goes on to something that would get into possible telepathy or ESP, then you explore that when it comes time. Just like if you exhaust all possible explanations that you can think of a ghost or an alien sighting, something like that. Once you get past those natural logical explanations, you keep looking for more information, and then you might go into different directions. But right away, no, I wouldn't jump to parapsychology or psychical research right away.
Right.
And, I mean, sometimes it's like anytime that I investigate a claim or something, I can hear people saying, "Oh, well, science doesn't know everything." Sometimes it's the most simple science. I mean, I don't plan like 2-week long experiments with hundreds of controls for one photograph.
Right.
You know, like sometimes you can solve a picture of a ghost in 30 seconds. Right. Just by what's in the picture. You can explain it and I can recreate it 5 minutes later. It doesn't take a lot of science to do that. The bare minimum at times. So I think if there's a progression and it's like we get there, we get to a point where, okay, we've exhausted pretty much everything I can think of, and I've consulted other people. We've exhausted all these avenues. Okay, let's go down this path and see what happens.
Right. I agree. I mean, to me, I mean, there's some things with I like to have opinions from all sides. So, you know, I would like to bring in different people, different experts, and you know, depending on the situation, you know, and go from there. You have to whittle it down one piece at a time, and then what you're left with is your answer, you know. But if it can be answered within the first 30 seconds or first 5 minutes, then great. If not, then that's when you just start, you know,
you just
going
keep
the other
going.
routes. You
Sometimes
have to.
You don't get an answer. Sometimes you're stuck at I don't know.
Yeah. Now, see, the Chanel put in here about I know when I have experience, and I also know that I can't prove it. I am content in it. If others doubt, question, or disbelieve, that's fine too. Like all things, you have the right. If you believe in nothing, you have nothing. Isn't love a belief within itself? And you know, the belief is a big thing, you know, but it's not. You can believe in God, you can believe in ghosts, you can believe in whatever you want, but when it comes to people like myself or Kenny, where we're looking for hard proof or evidence or something to prove this, or the existence of, or so on and so forth, it's not just a belief. It's more. It's work. It's wanting to know more. I mean, that's always been my problem, is I've always wanted to know more.
You have to understand that. I mean, and I think she does. That
Chanel's very smart. She does know, and
she's always going to be doubt with an extraordinary claim. There's always you're going to have doubt because extraordinary claims they do require extraordinary evidence.
Right.
You have to be put up or shut up kind of thing. But most people won't shut up anyway. But oh wait, my update here covered the question. There it is. Okay, so. I mean, and it's not always about disbelief. People tell me stories all the time, and I listen to them. I always give them a chance. You know, I want to hear what you have to say because not every case is exactly the same. Right. So I want to hear what you say, what your details are, because we might uncover a different reason for what you experienced. And if the comment about if you believe in nothing, you have nothing. I don't agree with that. My personal philosophy is that I don't hold beliefs. The beliefs are very hard to change. They become core beliefs. They become part of our foundation, and it's very hard to change a belief. I rather have ideas because I think ideas are easier to change. At least I've grown accustomed to changing my ideas with new and better information.
Right.
So is love a belief? I don't think so. I think it's an emotion that we feel. And some might argue that you can't prove love, but others would argue that you can, because I do know that there are studies that have looked into this, and you can prove the effects of love.
Right.
You can't see it, but you can definitely see the effects of love.
Right.
So that's a whole different topic that we can get into.
Yeah, we ain't got the time for it. So,
show. Yeah,
but actually, what I want to do is I kind of want to wrap this up. I wanted to do this for an hour. We're an hour 20.
I knew it wasn't going to be an hour.
I tried, man. I tried, but things just keep popping in here, and it is what it is. But I just want to chat, see how things were with you, and make sure you're okay and everything's going well. And that's it, man. We don't get time to talk much. That day I popped on your show. It's like, hey, let's get together and chat just for fun, and that's what I went on to do.
Yeah.
And it looks like my camera's all fucking up for some reason tonight.
Your
I don't know
camera has
why.
been blurry the whole show.
I don't understand that. But
I can
I'll
see
have to
it.
go back and check some stuff.
That's weird. I see it refreshing from the top down.
Really?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe it's my computer. Maybe it's time to clean the thing up.
There you go.
So, all right. Well, Kenny, thanks for joining me tonight and just hanging out and chatting and listening to me rant and rave on a few things as well.
Hey,
and
it was fun. Everyone in the chat room was great. Great comments and questions, and I hope I didn't piss anyone off.
Right.
If I did, you know what? Send me a message. We can chat more. So I mean, I don't shy away from discussions or debates or whatever. So if you have more to say, feel free. I mean, I'm not looking for an argument. I'm just if you want to have more of a discussion later,
there you go.
I'm all for it.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna check on my computer here and do a couple things. I'm gonna add your museum to the website.
Damn right,
guys. Make sure you go over and check that out. It's probably blurry coming from me, maybe not, but check it out. And there's the website and the Facebook for it. Please go and check it out. Support Kenny with that. That would be cool as hell. And Kenny, we'll talk soon, man.
Yes, we will, sir.
All right, you guys, thank you for joining us here tonight, and look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. Talk to you soon.